Now see, suppose you have a compound like H2SO4. Now, without drawing the structure as such, if you want to find the oxidation number of maybe sulfur, what do you want? What would you do? Now see, oxygen over here, since it's hydrogen and sulfur, it will have an oxidation number of -2. And since there are 4 atoms of oxygen, they will get a oxidation state of -2 into 4. Then let us take the oxidation number of sulfur to be X, and we know that hydrogen is bonded with either oxygen. It's bonded with oxygen only. It's like this. Okay, so when it is bonded with oxygen, it will have an oxidation state of +1, because if we take it, it's bonding with a more electronegative element, so oxygen takes -1 from here, giving H +1. So there are 2 hydrogens, so we have 2 into +1, and what would we equate this to? The oxidation number of the whole compound, which is equal to the net charge present on it, which is 0. So X will be equal to 8 minus 2, which is 6. So no need to write all this X and stuff. You can just see -2 into 4, 8, plus 2 minus 6. So to balance -6, S will have to have +6. If you write these equations and stuff, it is more accurate. You can make mistakes over here, but this will definitely save you time. So this is how you find the oxidation number. So let us do one more example. Suppose you have maybe COOH whole twice. This is oxalic acid. So its structure is such. So here oxidation will have oxygen will have minus, or since you can find it from the structure as such, you have one bond over here whose electron oxygen will take, so it will get a -1 charge, so this will get a +1. Here it will take 2 more, -2, so it will get a +2. So this carbon will have a +3, because from here it will take nothing. And this carbon, again, since it is symmetric, it will also have +3. And then to find the average, we can do it by using +3 plus 3 by 2, which is equal to +3. So the oxidation number of carbon would be +3, and oxygen would be -2 as usual, and hydrogen would be +1. Alright. Now let us take one more compound like KMnO4, potassium permanganate. So here you don't need to draw the structure. Here oxygen will have -2 into 4 -8, potassium will have +1, and -2 into 4 +1 plus X would be equal to 0. So X would be equal to 8 minus 1, which is 7, +7. So in potassium permanganate, this manganese always has a +7 oxidation number, and this is very important because we have potassium permanganate titrations and stuff where you need to know the oxidation number of very often used oxidation number of manganese, because in its oxidation this potassium permanganate gets converted to either MnO2 or Mn2+. So this plus 7 gets converted to plus 4 or plus 2. So that is why this KMnO4, the oxidation number of manganese, is quite important, and you would like to remember it. Now let us get to some odd oxidation numbers. Suppose you have an HOCl. Now just by looking, you would want to put a -1 charge on chlorine because it is you find it electronegative. But if you remember the electronegativity series, oxygen was more electronegative than chlorine. So oxygen will get this -1 charge, chlorine will get a +1 charge, and from here hydrogen will get a +1 and oxygen will get another -1. So hydrogen would be +1, oxygen would be -1 -1, that is -2, and chlorine, very surprisingly, would be +1. It doesn't happen in each and every compound. Like in most of the other compounds, NaCl, HCl, these sort of compounds, chlorine will have -1 charge, oxidation number. But in this case, chlorine will have +1 oxidation number. Just because a more electronegative oxygen is sitting beside it, and it will take away the negative charge, leaving chlorine only positive charge. So this is a surprising example. Again, you have a CrO5. You have a compound like this. Now here, if you would see that this would be -10, -2 into 5. So to make it 0, this would have to be +10. But how can you have a +10 charge on any element? Because after all, it's an element, it has only 8 valence electrons. You can have it only up till 7. How can you have a +10 charge? So the thing is that these oxygen are not bonded how you imagined them to be bonded with chromium. It's a different kind of structure. It's something like this. This is called a butterfly structure because it looks like a butterfly. So here this oxygen takes -1, this oxygen takes -1, this oxygen takes -2, and so this oxygen also takes -1 and this also takes -1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minuses, so 4 plus over here, and again 2 minus, so 2 plus over here. So chromium will have a +6 oxidation number, right? And see over here, oxygen has a -1 oxidation number. This is also surprising, because it's only taking electrons from this bond, and oxygen bond, it's remaining untouched because they are of the same electronegativity. So in this compound, chlorine has a +6 oxidation number, while oxygen very surprisingly has a -1 oxidation number. Or no, actually not -1 also. This is the oxidation state of this oxygens. This oxygen has -2, so its average would be -1 into 4 -2 divided by 5. So it would be -4 -2, which is -6 by 5. So sorry, this oxidation number, this would be the oxidation state of oxygens, which are these. But the oxidation number of oxygen would be this, -6 by 5. So we can have fractional oxidation numbers. This example proved that also. So there is one more example where you have different oxidation numbers of H2SO5. Yes, this compound exists, no doubt. It's something like this. So in this there is an oxygen-oxygen linkage, and this is known as a peroxide linkage. So here it would be -1, here it would be -2, and this would be -1. So sulfur will have -2, -2, -4, -5, -6. So sulfur will have a +6 oxidation number, and oxygen on the other hand would have here there would be -2, here there would be -1. So it would have 3 -2s, and here again there would be -2. Sorry, 4 -2s. Sorry, this would be -1 only. So 3 -2s and 2 -1s divided by 5. So -6 -2 by 5, which is -8 by 5. This would be the oxidation number of oxygen. Okay.